Commentary on the Book of Jubilees, chapter 8. There's not too much for me to comment on. I'm going to read the footnotes, talking about different places based on this translation's understanding or the translator's understanding. It says here Palestine is middle of the earth, although Palestine was not mentioned in this chapter. Rafa is Ural Mountains. Tina, Tanais or Don. Mayat is Maotis or the Sea of Azov. Karaso, Chersones or Reno Korura on the Egyptian border, perhaps more likely. Africa in early limited sense. Gihon is the Nile. The three abodes of God are in Shem's portion. Kaftur or Kamaturi, either Crete or Cyprus or Cilicia or Cappadocia. There's a lot of possibilities. Or Koptos, a city in the upper Thebaid. Senir or Senir is Hermon. Amana is Anti-Libanos or Mount Amanus. So these are possibilities, not saying these are 100% correct. Maadai is Media. Ham's portion, vague limits in Asia. Atel is possibly Atlantic. Mauk is Oceanus. Gadir, Cadiz. Gog equals the Scythians, according to Josephus. Celt equals the Celts. Afarag, possibly Phrygia. Okay. So I'm just going to look over this text and see if there's anything that I had questions about. Let me just pause this recording for a moment. It might take. Okay, so I'm going to comment. On the this inscription, the writing which was carved on the rock. What is that mysterious writing? Well, it was the teaching of the Watchers. So these are teachings which possibly that Noah would be angry about. So that sounds like something that would be contradictory to what Yah is commanding, perhaps. According to Enoch, it seems to be the case. The book of Enoch, the first book. Okay, let me pause once again. Don't want to go on for too long. One section I wanted to make a comment on, but because it was the reading, I don't want to make any comments for the sake of the narrative, for the sake of the recordings, is Azurad, that's in verse 7, the daughter of Nebrod. So if we go up there, let's go up to verse 7. You'll notice Nebrod. I believe this is another name for Nimrod, if I'm not mistaken. Right there, Nebrod. I believe that's another name that he's given, another version of his name. And then notice in verse 10, I believe it's 10 or 11, but it's talking about how the children of Noah divided the earth, and then they took the writing out of the bosom of Noah. What is the writing? Is that the Torah? Because that didn't exist yet, right? So what did they take from Noah? Was it some pre-Torah, like whatever was given to Noah? Was it something he inscribed that were important commandments, or is it the forbidden writing, the inscription that was found by Canaan, where he found the inscription, the writing carved in the rock from the Watchers? Perhaps it was that, because is that not perhaps how evil was spread by the evil teachings of the Watchers? Perhaps. I'm not saying this is 100% the truth, but a possibility for sure. And then notice in verse 19, talks about how it's comparing the Garden of Eden to the Holy of Holies, the dwelling of the Lord. That's interesting. Because the Holy of Holies is usually a term that's associated with the temple or the tabernacle, and you have the divider between the rest of the structure, and it's called the Holy of Holies. So they're equating the Garden of Eden as being that place in this chapter of Book of Jubilees. And then Mount Sinai, as I understand it at least, is actually in Saudi Arabia. And it's saying that's the center of the desert. And then Mount Zion or Zion is the center of the navel of the earth, which technically, yes, it's literally in the middle of the earth. It's in the Mediterranean. It's in the Middle East. And they were created as holy places which face each other. So the Garden of Eden, nobody really knows where that is 100% with 100% accuracy, or with confidence that they have the evidence to supply evidence regarding its location geographically, or any evidence to show that it exists currently. But you do have Mount Sinai, again in Arabia, and in relation to Israel, that would be, I believe, on the southeast. Well, it's south anyhow. And then Garden of Eden, I guess, would be somewhere in the... If they're all facing each other, Garden of Eden would either be to the east of both of those sites or to the west. Otherwise, it can't face both if Eden is north of any of, or south of either of these locations. So it has to be kind of in between. So that would put it either in Iraq, I believe, or somewhere east. So I'm not sure what that would be. Could be India, but I'm not sure. It makes more sense to be Babylon, in my opinion, which is strange because Babylon has a lot of stigma associated with it, that name, Babel. But just thinking off the top of my head, you have the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. And that was a great city at one time, and spiritually it's going to come back again. Babylon the Great, Mystery Babylon. Okay, and it says here, the God of gods. That's interesting. So I'm going to look at that verse 21, or 20, I should say. The God of gods and the Lord. So is this the same person? You can make an argument and say this is the same entity, the God of gods, Elohim of Elohim. Adonai is that Elohim. Or you can make the argument and say he blessed the God of gods, which is, let's just say it's the Father, just for argument's sake. And then you have the Lord. Perhaps that's the Son. It's hard to say, but those are possibilities. So not much to talk about in terms of this chapter, except for what I've mentioned. It's a lot of geographical divisions. These three divisions, three distinct peoples: Ham, Japheth, Shem. And so an anthropologist, if they're being honest, they would say there are only three races, or one race, human race, but three subdivisions of the human race. You have those who are European looking, for lack of a better term, those who are African looking, and those who are Asiatic or Oriental looking, such as myself. But I get different impressions. People think I'm different races. So anyway, different subdivisions. In any case, thank you for your time. Please like either this video or the narrated video, or both, whatever floats your boat, whichever you actually like, in order for me to see, if you do like this kind of content. Should I continue narrating Jubilees, and not just Jubilees, but perhaps other pseudepigraphal books that are contained in books like this, or perhaps even some texts such as the Nag Hammadi. I have many other lost books, so-called lost books of the Bible, hidden scriptures, lost scriptures. So if that's something that would be of interest to you, I could possibly even take some requests. Not that I was originally planning to do this, but the Jubilees, Book of Jubilees, was something that is something that's very much on my heart. I appreciate this book greatly. I respect it very much. Although I have to mention that the timeline that Jubilees gives is not exactly the most accurate. So I would not use Jubilees as a chronological record for record keeping and following these timelines that are provided. But otherwise, yes, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps for me to determine what kind of content should continue or should be uh, recorded and posted on this channel. As well, please give us a subscribe if you have not subscribed yet to spread this channel in terms of the Septuagint Masoretic portion of this ministry, or simply exploring books that are not considered canonical but perhaps should be canonical, such as the Book of Enoch, Jubilees, Jasher, etc., and other texts as well. So thank you again for your time. Shalom, salam, peace with you, peace be with you, and Maranatha.